A warm welcome to this spotlight session on focus groups, focus group analysis. I would like to point out some tips and tricks on how to do this analysis, or at least get started with some first steps in your analysis with focus group transcripts. I would like to start by showing you the layout of the transcript that has to be or can be imported into MAXQDA. Here I would like to point your attention to the colon, which you can see directly after the speaker. MAXQDA uses this column in order to identify the different speakers and automatically assign their contributions, even if they reappear, for example, the moderator, several times in this transcript, right? So MAXQDA automatically recognizes this if you use the name as it's spelled correctly every time the speaker appears, and if you have the colon afterwards or after the name of the speaker, so that MAXQDA can automatically assign those contributions. I would like to show you how this works in MAXQDA. We have a separate icon in order to import your focus group transcripts. I have already one transcript here imported. This is a financial crisis discussion with some students, and it is also about their jobs. It's the same transcript that I'm going to import in a second, but I just want to import it or re-import it in order to show you how MAXQDA works with this. But you can see that there's a moderator, that there are different speakers. I've already coded it, so at least they have something to look at when we do some analysis later on. But this is, the first step to get your transcript into this shape, that you can see how many contributions each speaker has in your focus group, how long do they talk, how often do they talk, and all these different aspects that might be important for your MAXQDA transcript focus group analysis. How to do this? So we have two options in your importing icon here. You have one with timestamps and one without timestamps. So it's both possible. I have a transcript that has no timestamps. I'm going to show it to you directly. Normally there would be something like this, and then a minute or a second or a time, whatever, right? So that the MAXQDA recognizes automatically that there's a timestamp. I don't have these timestamps, so I'm gonna import my transcript with using the icon here, transcripts without timestamps. You just simply collect this document you would like to import, and MAXQDA, as I said, automatically recognizes the different speakers that are speaking in your document, in your transcript. So this is automatically, or has been automatically assigned. We see the moderator, he has 17 contributions. Miles, for example, has 3 contributions. Lisa has 3 contributions. Parker has also 3 contributions. Casey, 17, right? So mostly Lucas is talking with 11, but the moderator, asks a lot of questions, as he should be. So this is a first analysis, and as I said, MAXQDA automatically recognizes that there's a speaker change if you use this colon and then the speaker name in front of it, and if you assign those both the name and the column correctly, right? So this is the very first important step that you have to take into account when planning to do a focus group analysis with MAXQDA, and this is then a step that brings you a much way forward. I would like to delete this transcript now because I already have the same transcript imported and I already have it coded. So I'm going to delete this and we can work with the document that has already been coded by myself. So I'm going to just delete it and we work with this focus group. It's the same document that has been imported, the same transcript, as you can see with the different speakers. What we can do now is assign, for example, different variables to the speakers, because you might want to differentiate between those different speakers and their contributions using some variables, for example, the gender or sex, their income. If, for example, have a lot of politicians, that would be like their party affiliation. So different characteristics of your speakers that you would like to use in order to differentiate them further on, in order to do more fine-grained analysis with the speakers in your documents. In order to do this, you can click with your right mouse on the financial crisis discourse, or the name of your transcript, and you can see here is a header that says overviews, and we have here a separate item which is only activated if you have a focus group, and this says focus group speakers. If you click on this, you see the the 6 speakers that are active, and you can see which document they're in. You can see how many contributions they do. You can see the percentage of their contributions in this focus group transcript. You can see the number of characters, and you can see the percentage of characters in order, in the full manuscript or transcript, right? And in the end, you can see a variable that I have already created, and I'm going to show you in a second how I did this. Before that, one little introduction into how MAXQDA works with variables and these, in order to get these characteristics in. Several statistical programs like SPSS or Stata and even R work with 2 kind of display functions. One is the kind of data editor, which you can see here. You see the observations and you can see the values, or you have another display, which is the list of your variables. And in order to create a new one, you have to be in this list of variables in order to have this variable generated. And you can do this by clicking on this item. This might be familiar with you if you have worked with document or code variables. It's the same icon. And you click on it, and you can automatically assign a name to this new variable. I have already created one which says gender. I can create another which says, for example, party affiliation, and we can define a type of this variable. We can use a text, so a string variable, which is a word. For example, in the case of gender, that would be the words female or male or transgender or whatever. We can use an integer, so a number, which is 1, 2, 3, or 5. A decimal number, well, I guess that's something that you know, right? 7.3, 4.7, something like that. A date, time, and the Boolean. So MAXQDA works with all of these different types in a way that it can differentiate the observations according to this. So it doesn't really matter if you use it for gender, a text variable, or a number. It might play a role if you, for example, want to use some descriptive statistics on your variables later on. So if you want to calculate, for example, a standard deviation or something like that, right? So then obviously you have to use the integer, but MAXQDA can also work with texts in order to differentiate between the characteristics that you just put in. So if I now click on OK, we have created a new variable, and if you now go back to the data editor, you can see the variable is new here, and we can see, for example, and assign then different parties, right? So just click in the cell and you can start typing in your variable. So let's say he's in a liberal party, he's in a social party, Lisa is in a conservative party, right? Whatever. And we can use these later on. I'm going to show you later on what we can do with these variables. But this is an option if you, as I said, would like to differentiate your speakers a bit more for your analysis. You can also use these variables to do some little statistics, or at least to use them to describe your data set. For example, if you click on these, this icon here, you can do some, for example, calculations on the contributions they did. For example, we have 3 who have 3 contributions, we have 1 who has 17 contributions, and you can, for example, click on this and calculate the descriptive statistics, as I said. So there should be the mean value 7.3, standard deviations 5.2, and these variants, all these. You can copy it to your report or your thesis or whatever you need this to. But I also would like to show you how this works with gender. For example, we have this value variables in on male and female. We have 2 who are male, and we have 4 we have male and 2 are female. And we can also create something like a chart, right? So that you can see, for example, on gender the absolute numbers, or you take the percentages. You can also do this with the contributions, right? So This is, I think, a very handy option in order to describe your data set with the focus group speakers and to explain people what your data set is about. If you would like to need this, right? You can do it in a circle, pie chart, or whatever. You can print it, you can export it, you can copy it into the clipboard and then paste it in your report or in your thesis or whatever you are going to write. So this is a very first tip. Use these variables in order to differentiate your speakers even more, using their income, your gender, sex, party affiliation, whatever variable you can think about in order to work with this further on. Because you can also activate the speakers using their these characteristics. So you might be interested in activating only the females or only the males in order to get an answer to one of your codes. To do this, I'm going to show you before this how you can code everything that MAXQDA offers in terms of analysis. For example, is important is doable with your focus group transcript. So the coding procedure, just as the way it is, you can do it inductively with the right-click mouse on the previously or beforehand marked passages. You can create a code beforehand and then assign the specific passages by drag and drop. You can use the different colors and highlight coding. You can paraphrase. You can write comments to your codes by just clicking on those. You can write those you use the weight for those codes or codings in this sense. So you can just use anything that MAXQDA offers in your qualitative analysis that you have with a normal document too, right? So this works as normally as it should be. What MAXQDA offers as well is, as I said, the activation option, so that you can activate or create, for example, sets with only those, for example, male speakers or who are in a conservative party, in order to differentiate their answers. Because something that you cannot do while using the transcripts, focus group transcripts, is, for example, using the cross tabulations, side-by-side displays, because the variables that we used here are not comparable to document variables. So this is a different set or different type of variables in MAXQDA, and so those options cannot be used. However, we can use the analysis. We can write summaries. All the different stuff is, as I said, available in your transcripts when you use focus group transcripts. You have an option here in the top that says Activate By. If you click on this, you can see Activate Focus Group Speakers by Variables, and you can now see that we have the 3 system variables that are automatically in, and we have 2 which have been created by us. Gender, I've created this one before, and party affiliation, we just created this before together. So we can choose gender, we can choose an operator, so equals, smaller than, unequal, contains, and we choose the value, for example, if you say we want to get the males or the females, right? So MAXQDA automatically tells you below here how many documents or how many speakers, in this sense, speakers he finds. He says, okay, under the conditions gender equals female, I have 2 speakers in your set, and if I do this on male, it changes to 4, right? 6 speakers, 4 of them are male. If I now click on Activate, MAXQDA goes into your variable set and looks for only those who are male. And now I can see, for example, if I click on the code in my 4th window, which is this one here, the retrieved segments, I will only have the answers to my question on job work. So it's a study on financial crisis and the impacts of financial crisis in 2010 on the jobs, and I can see only what the male contributions or participants of my focus group discussion set on works, on job work. And yeah, now I can even create a set by just moving them down here and create a set of those, right? So this is a very, I think, good option in order to differentiate your qualitative analysis even more, and in order to work with those variables a bit. I would also like to point your attention to one of my favorite tools in MAXQDA, which is in the visual tools, a code matrix browser. Because normally you have, you have a lot of documents, you have a lot of speakers in focus group situations, and you might lose track of what you have already been coded. And you also, in the end, after the coding process, you would like to get a smart and good overview about the different codes that you have used and how they are distributed in your data set. So if you click on Visual Tools and the Code Matrix browser, you have an option to concentrate your analysis on the focus group speakers. Normally, if you have several interviews or documents that you're analyzing, you would click this. But now that we have focus group speakers, we can concentrate our analysis on just these different speakers and differentiate along these speakers. I will have to deactivate those two because I don't want to look only at the activated focus speakers, and I don't want to look on the activated codes. As I said, you can use the weight filter. Everything one of these options that MAXQDA offers are, as I said, normally available. All right, this is how a code matrix browser looks. I use it for different options. First one is due to some kind of a control option, right? To control myself. For example, if I have different codes and I don't have a code, for example, for Casey, I can go back into the data and look, why is there not a code for Casey, right? Is it because I don't find it? Is it didn't find it? Is it because Casey didn't talk about this one? So there are different options in order to check how your data is available. You can also now easily switch to numbers and see how often the variable has been assigned, the code has been assigned, in order to export it to a statistical program, right? So it offers you the option in order to quantize your qualitative data. Another step if you want to do cluster analysis further on, but this is also some way of analysis. But what it also offers is to give you an interactive code matrix in order to see what kind of coded segments these 9 lay behind these numbers or these squares, right? So if you click on this button, you will get an interactive code matrix showing you what lies behind those numbers. So now you see we have only 4 out of our 6 speakers, so I increase it to 6, and now I have all my 6 speakers and all the codes that I would like to look into, and I see their qualitative statements and also see where they have been assigned. So section 10, section 12, right? So this is, I think, also a very good option in order to find patterns in your qualitative data, compare the answers to your different codes, to your different questions, categories that you have, and easily compare it to the different options that they might have given you in order to analyze it, right? You always see miles, one document, well, sure, it's one of the same document, but two coded segments, 6 coded segments, 9 coded segments, and these are exactly the numbers that we see in the code matrix browser here in this line, right? And this goes on and on with all the different codes that you have and have been coded. So I think this is a very good tool to give you an overview and to be used as a controlling option, and also be used in order to finding patterns. Although, as you all know, in qualitative research we have to be very hesitant with using those numbers for an analysis, but I guess this is another spotlight session. This cannot be solved in this one. So this is another option. I just want to show you this as another option. Another visual tool that you can use actually is a maps. There's also the possibility for focus group speakers in order to create new maps or new document models. So you can see here, for example, the option in order to create a map with these different speakers in order to assign, for example, the thickness of these assignments to different codes. It doesn't really show much because I only have one code here in the data set, but I think you get the idea of what MAXQDA can do with this when using also the max maps for displaying the different connections between codes, memos, and whatever you have in the data set, right? So this was the input that I was planning to give you. As you can see, you also have the handout that I've created. You can download it and read exactly the things that I've just told you about, and you can see the screenshots that I've created. And as I said, I think speakers groups or focus group analysis can be done very nicely with MAXQDA using the import function with MAXQDA focus group transcripts, and taking into account that your transcript has to have this colon after the name of the speaker, and then you can automatically, or let MAXQDA automatically assign the different speakers that you have in your data set. All right, thank you for your attention, and take care and stay healthy in these times. Bye-bye.